Hello, guys. Thank you for joining me. It's your boy Gustavo, as usual. If that's your first time seeing my content, please follow. You can also subscribe to my channel on YouTube at Gustavo Football Headquarters. Yes. So this is my view on yesterday's game between PSG and then Tottenham. Yes. I think it was a very entertaining game, just like we expected. Most people thought it was going to be an all PSG 90 minutes. No, but it wasn't like that. Tottenham really organized themselves really well, but then at the end, football happens, and then what happened. Yeah, so let's me start with the PSG. No, let me start with the Tottenham setup that they brought into this game. To be honest, I was really impressed with the starting lineup. It was a proper rugged kind of team. That I think coming up against a team like PSG, you should put out. Yes, because sometimes we do say you shouldn't give your opponent so much respect, but then I think on the side of Thomas Frank, he really did, and then to be honest, it worked out. It really worked out, and then I was really impressed. But then getting to the end, there are factors that come into the game. It's not just the football. Sometimes the experience and then a whole lot of factors. Yes, and then I think with the kind of setup they brought, I think it was a proper Thomas Frank kind of setup, very rugged. Yes, that was what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting him to be so flexible coming up against this PSG team. Yes, because we know how PSG are good on the ball. When it comes to ball retention, it's very hard to take the ball off them. When Tottenham says they want to possess, just like PSG will do, we all know what's going to happen. Yes, so I think Thomas Frank gave them that respect, came up with his own style, with his own setup that I think was so Thomas Frank, and I really liked it. And then PSG, we know, I think there was only one change, one or two changes, I think, where Ruben Neves was absent, and then Emre came in to replace him. But then I think the PSG side wasn't having so much changes as we all expected. Yes, so now going into the game, we know, as we all know, Tottenham really came into the game, defended really really well, had strong players up front to hold up play just in case the ball is in their area, in the PSG area, and I think that really worked from the start. Yes, with the likes of Kudus, Richarlison, and then Spence. Yes, they did really well. To be honest, they did really well. And my problem comes in. This is where my problem comes in. Why would Thomas Frank make those changes? To be honest, if this was a kind of Mourinho setup, right? Nothing showed that the likes of Kudus, Paulinho, and the rest were tired. Nothing showed. They were still playing it very well. They stick to the plan. So I think there was no point of making changes at that moment. As I was about to say, if this was Mourinho type of team, right? I won't be shocked that these same players are going to play throughout the 90. And we all know that because there was nothing to show that Tottenham needed changes at that point. They defended really well, as we all could see. They attacked very well, as we all could see. Kudus, excellent game by all standards. He had Nuno Mendes on toast throughout the 90, throughout the period that he was on the field. So why take him off? Richarlison, in games like this, you need attackers who are always going to be on the tails of the PSG defenders. And Richarlison was that kind of player. He never rests. He always comes at you. He always runs. He's always working. So at that point, I think everything was working out for PSG, for Tottenham, because Richarlison was doing an excellent job. Kudus was doing an excellent job. Spence running up and down was doing an excellent job, and there was no sign of weakness or tiredness. So why take them off? That's my first point. Why take them off? That's where the issue of experience come in. Because Thomas Frank, this kind of games, I don't think he has ever been in this kind of situation before. Hence these mistakes. because leading 2-0 up to the 80th minute, still leading by 2 goals to 0. Come on. That's why I said if this was a Mourinho team, bro, we know the game was over. We know it because they are going to defend with their lives. And these players that you substituted, nothing showed that you had to change them, and they were still working. Probably he may, probably he may argue that Richarlison was on a card, right? Richarlison was on a card, fine, but then a Mourinho, a Mourinho setup will still maintain Richarlison, even if he gets a red. You are in the 90th minute. Defend with your life. You can defend that 10 minutes, bro. You've defended for about 80 minutes. So what shows that you can't defend the rest of the 10 minutes with these same players? Yes, so I think that was where Thomas Frank got it all wrong. But then aside that, Tottenham really had a decent game. They really played very well. I think, in my opinion, we knew PSG was always going to dictate the game because we know that's how they play. Right. Yeah. So on the part of PSG, I think that was what we were expecting, and then we saw it. But then the manner in which those goals came in was really baffling. Yes, because I think after those changes, PSG started getting the width. Someone like Nuno Mendes going forward always will always be a problem for your team. So taking out the likes of Kudus, who was holding him off, was a very big mistake. I don't know what Thomas Frank saw though, but then I think taking off Kudus, especially Richarlison as well, especially, was a very big problem because they were the ones holding those fullbacks off. Look at their centre backs; they had the chance to really dictate after Richarlison came off. We all saw it. So I think this is all on Thomas Frank. To be honest, I wouldn't say it's a lack of experience. Some may disagree, but then sometimes there are certain things that are so basic. They are so basic that you don't need a magician to tell you this. You get it? A winning team, a team that is showing no weakness. Why should you take them off? Why should you change it? You get it? Because the likes of Kudus, Richarlison, Palinia, Sa, these players are proper rugged players. These are the players you need in games like this. And you took them all off at the moment you really needed them. You get it? So I don't know what Thomas Frank saw, to be honest. But then what happened, and I think this is going to be a very big lesson to Thomas Frank and his technical staff. But then on the side of PSG, as I was saying, we all know how they are going to dictate the game, and they had a very strong bench as well. We all know, and the players who came off the bench came to give them the results. You get it? Fresh legs came in and then gave them the results. All was as a result of um, the players who were being held off were now getting the chance to come forward freely without any obstructions. You get me? So sometimes we may not be coaches though, but then there are certain things you just see clearly from the eye. You don't need a magician to tell you. Yes, so I think this is going to be a lesson for Thomas Frank and his boys. And then on the part of PSG, I think this is about their sixth or fifth trophy they've won from the whole of last season coming in. And I think this is a very big achievement for PSG. And they really deserve it because from the way they've played last season in the Champions League, in the league, it was only Chelsea who stopped them in the Club World Cup final. Yes, so I think, and really coming into this game, I was saying Chelsea's obstruction has really caused PSG, especially when they went 2 goals down. Yeah, so I think Thomas Frank really had just one job, and I see so many Arsenal fans getting mad at United. That was when PSG was 2 goals down. They were mad at United for letting Tottenham beat them in the Europa League final. And they were like, no, Tottenham is going to win another European trophy, and they are trophyless, especially when it comes to Europe. So they were so worried. But then when things overturned, they were filled with joy. Yeah, so they feel like Tottenham just had one job. They had just one job and they bottled it themselves. You get it? Yeah. So on the part of PSG, very good achievement for Enrique and his boys. They did really well, regardless whatever happened. They did really well, and they deserve it. Yes, they deserve it. Who's coming in very late, and especially the second one coming in very, very, very late in the dying minute from Gonzalo Ramos from a cross from the flanks. As I was saying, the cross came from the flanks where their fullbacks were being stopped. But the players who had the energy, that had the strength, who were still in the game, who could stop them, were taken off by Thomas Frank. So I think that was where the whole problem came from. Yes, Thomas Frank's changes really caused Tottenham in this game. So I think this is going to be a very big lesson to him. And then I think from the way they performed, if this is the way they are really going to perform, I think they are going to have a very good Premier League season, to be honest. Yes, so I think these are my views on why Tottenham lost that final. Thank you for joining me. As I said, if you are this is the first time you are seeing my content, you can follow, you can share, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel at Gustavo Football Headquarters. Thank you.